Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface, not the Sunday just gone, but the Sunday before. Doctor Who FLUX, aka Season 13 of Doctor Who came, thankfully, to a close. But now we have the full consolidated numbers in. So we have all of the series ratings in. So how does it compare with previous seasons? And was it a success or a failure based off of that? Well, it's going to come as no surprise to discover that actually it was a mitigated failure, not just a little bit, but a colossal failure. And I'll go into why momentarily. Let's just start off with looking at some Peter Capaldi ratings. Now, this is Capaldi's 9th season, well, season 9 of Doctor Who. This is where Capaldi was in the middle of his run. And the lowest rating that we got this season was Sleep No More with a 5.61 million consolidated. Now, bear in mind, of course, that Capaldi ran on a Saturday, not a Sunday, which was a tougher day because most people went out. But it showed in the consolidated numbers because it showed that most people, or a lot of people, actually went to the iPlayer to catch up. Even if they didn't catch him on that night. So even though some of the overnights were absolutely appalling, if you look at the number, the consolidated numbers really perked it up because of it being a Saturday, not a Sunday. But when we get to season 10 of Capaldi, Capaldi's final season, we see here that his lowest rating came in at a 4.73. Which, make no bones about it, is terrible. Now, 2 of his episodes in the final season dropped below 5 million, but 4.73 was the lowest that he got. Now, season 12 of Doctor Who, the previous season, we saw that the Jodie Whittaker's version sank lower than that, with the Timeless Children, the final episode, dropping to a consolidated of 4.55, which was the lowest rating of New Who to date. So, if we go, however, to Doctor Who FLUX, we see that 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 6 episodes fell below Peter Capaldi's low of 4.73. We have a 4.70, sorry, 4.59, 4.47, 4.72, just but enough, and a 4.53. So the very last episode of Doctor Who FLUX was actually the second lowest of New Who, and that's behind a previous episode of Doctor Who FLUX. So 4 of these 6 episodes are in the bottom 5 lowest ever rated of New Who ratings. Once again, showing that Chibnall and Whittaker's era of the Doctor has been thoroughly rejected. But I also believe that it's the Timeless Children storyline as well, which has been massively rejected. And this is where we get to the second part of the video, which is Russell T Davies. When Russell T Davies takes over after the remaining 4 specials, which are going to take place over the course of the next year, it's not, to me, just the show that has to be rejigged completely. I think first and foremost, the Doctor needs to return to their true gender, which is male. It doesn't seem to, or certainly hasn't worked under the Whittaker's run, and I'm not prepared to even bother if they try and experiment again with another female. I'd just be out. I'm sick and tired of TV shows trying to subvert gender roles. The Doctor works as a man. That's how they've worked, or they had worked for 55 years before Whittaker became the Doctor. And it just, the dynamic didn't work at all. Chibnall, of course, not only didn't know how to operate the Doctor, but didn't know how to operate the companions either. So we were just in a complete mess of a television show going forward. So I think first and foremost, the Doctor has to return back to their proper gender, which is male. That to me is how the Doctor is, and probably how the Doctor should remain. But also, that timeless children's storyline has got to be retconned. Now, whether or not Russell T Davies says he's going to respect it or not, one can only hope that that's lip service, because this does not work. This bullshit that the BBC is trying to feed you, that this allows for more interesting and diverse stories to be told, is just utter horseshit. You don't get a TV series that runs for nearly 60 years without it being relatable to everybody. It's an impossibility. Doctor Who has always been relatable to people because we've had males in it, we've had females in it, we've had adventure stories in it, we've had character stories in it, we've had social issues in it, not to be mistaken for social justice, which is completely different. And people from every walk of life, every era can relate to these matters. Now, we all understand, I think, by now that one of the reasons why the BBC introduced the timeless children's storyline was to get rid of the whiteness of the Doctor, because the BBC is now a far left partisan broadcasting company that doesn't serve the British public. It serves its far left ideology. And so being embarrassed is one word, being upset, mad, I don't know, about the fact that the history of the Doctor was 11, 12 white men was enough to drive them over the edge to change and retcon the story to the Doctor now being a female black baby, then another female, then another female, then another diversity. It just shows how an organization takes other races and other genders and abuses them, and then goes out and claps and pats itself on the back and says, aren't we so great? Aren't we so forward thinking? Aren't we so diverse? By taking gender, sexuality, race, and perverting it for our own ends and means. It's sick. It's twisted. And unfortunately, this is what the far left do. They think they're being open and diverse and respectful and all this kind of jargon. But no, they're just using diversity as a tool to push an agenda. They don't care about it at all. They don't care one bit. And as soon as it's not required or not necessary or doesn't work, then it's cast aside, as much as the far right abuse the diversity of people. So that's where we are with Doctor Who. But Russell T Davies, to me, has to get rid of that storyline. It has to get rid of that timeless child storyline. With the Bad Wolf Company now having creative control, to me, that would be one of the things that I would do. There's miles more history of Doctor Who being a man and Hartnell being the first Doctor, 55 odd years of it, than there is of Chibnall's Timeless Children, which literally spans one season and one episode. But because Chibnall's story is now entrenched in diversity, that's the sticky point. Because now we're going to have all the fucking woke people on Twitter screaming and shouting if it gets taken away. But sometimes somebody has to put their foot down and say, no, this is how the Doctor used to be. And Chibnall coming in and putting their own spin and explaining who the Doctor was, something that never should have been explained, something that never people didn't want to be explained, is in fact selfish to that writer and doesn't enhance, and it doesn't respect the history of Doctor Who, which is something that we all have loved for goodness knows how many decades now. But it clearly demonstrates in the ratings that if you want to push down this storyline, you want to push down your woke agenda of Doctor this, Doctor that, Doctor this color, Doctor this gender, whatever, people are just bored and sick of this. people are really bored and sick of this this it's not even a subversion, it's this pseudo subversion that, guess what, woman, and people are just like, you know, if I was 1959, I'd be shocked, but you know, it's 2021, so let's move on, shall we? There's nothing wrong with having clearly defined gender roles. The Doctor's a man. Simple as that. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and YouTube for live streaming. Links are in the description box down below, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.